Excuse me. Disgusting.
Hey, YouTube, you're the first one on. Awesomeness. You're not normally the first one on. So thank y'all for tuning in to the Queen. This is Amina, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artist. I'm about to go live everywhere. So I need y'all to work with me. Just bear with the Queen while I get everything and everybody together. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's not.
What's wrong?
Okay, allow. Hold on, let me add my description. A. How do I add people?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have Facebook.
It won't let me add him. Okay. Come on. It won't let me add him. Nope. So bear with me. I'm getting live. I'm just trying to add my guests and add everybody to the show because this is going to be an awesome show. Grab me my 4 books. I'm going to have an awesome poet on the line. His name is Charles York, and this is going to be amazing. We're going to talk about issues and other things going on in the world. Like, it's just definitely going to be a wonderful show. So I think everybody is tuning into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists. But like I said, just bear with me real quick, and I'm going to do what it do, like I'm doing it for TV. Okay. So y'all know I'm gonna be eating dinner too, because y'all know how it goes. I never get a chance to eat. As a mom, you always got something going on. I don't know why, but it will not let me add my guest to the show. So hopefully, he will be able to see what I'm doing, and he'll be able to. There we go. Boom. Okay. So I got everything together. I'm ready. I'm live. Okay. So, and I'm going to try to go live on my Instagram too. So, y'all just bear with me. Hold up. Let me turn the screen around. Boom. Hey! Ah! Okay. So, hopefully, I got everybody tuned into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists. Hopefully, y'all can see me. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I'm going to do a watch party. I'm going to do a watch party on my what is this? Hold on. I'm gonna do a watch party on my Facebook. So just work with me. Work with me, work with me, work with me. And we're gonna get everybody live. So like I said, I got an awesome guest by the name of Charles York. He is a poet. He is amazing. He is phenomenal. And hopefully we can get everything together the way I want to get it together. Hold up. It's telling me who is joining now. So I didn't get a chance to eat my dinner. So y'all know I'm perfectly imperfect. So y'all know I'm always having a problem and an issue and a something else. So just work with the queen, work with the queen. I'm going to set up the watch party. And from the watch party, I'm going to get him live. Hey, bro, appreciate you tuning in. But like I said, from the watch party, I'm going to get Mr. Charles York live on the screen. I just got to set this watch party up. Y'all know I really don't know how to do this. Like, it irks me so bad that I can never get things done the way I want to get it done. Like, it's just like, oh my God, work with the queen. But I want to know how y'all doing. I really do. Everybody say hello. Y'all be able to ask questions. Y'all can see that y'all can ask the type of person Mr. York actually is. Hold on. All right, so I found it. Now I have to, let's see, I don't know. Hey, bro, how do I do a watch party? I was able to do it before from my page. So let's see. So I'm going to figure that out. Everybody on YouTube, everybody on Facebook, thank you for tuning into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists. I want to thank y'all so very, very much for always tuning in, for always supporting, for always just being there for the queen. Because I really do need that in my life. I really, really just do. So I thank y'all so, so very much. So, so very much. So I'm able to see it now. So I'm going to start this watch party. And once I start this watch party, we're going to bring my guest on and we're going to talk. We're going to talk. We're going to say and do. And you feel what I'm saying? We're going to figure it out. We're going to talk about what got him started in poetry. We're going to talk about, it's not letting me start a watch party. Hold on, hold on. Ooh, share. Nope. Okay. Who knows how to do a watch party? Somebody talk to the queen. Talk to the queen. You know, hey, Philly Street Poet, appreciate you for tuning in. Really, I do. How you doing? I know it's cold up there in Philly. I swear, all y'all keep sending me these things telling me how cold it is, and that's what's making me not want to come back to the East Coast, because where I am it's nice and warm and I'm feeling pretty good. So I know y'all is over there freezing like it ain't nobody's business. So you know, I'm sad that it's like 16 degrees where y'all are, or 6 degrees or 7 degrees, where over here it's like 75 degrees and I'll be nice and warm. Jermaine, what's going on? Appreciate you. I listen, like I said, I'm just trying to get this watch party together. Once I get this watch party set up, I can go from there. It's just I don't know how to do it the right way. Like, and I hate that I'm always trying to do things in the last minute. But I definitely want to get my guest on, Mr. Charles York, and just talk about, what got him started in poetry, because y'all know I write poetry. I've been doing poetry forever and a day, and my books aren't really going the way I want. So, and he was telling me, people comment on his type of poetry. So we're going to find out what type of poetry that he has, what type of poetry that he actually does. We're going to talk about just everything under the sun. I'm going to bring him into the screen in a second, but I want to thank y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. Y'all know this was supposed to be my surgery day. I had to cancel it, but we'll all talk about that later. We really, really will. I want to make sure that I can see everybody's comments. So I need y'all to throw your hearts up. I need y'all to just let me know that y'all are here. Say something, comment, throw up your likes. Just do what y'all can do to let me know that y'all are part of the Queen's team this evening, because I really need to hear y'all, see y'all, know that we in this together. Okay. So work with me. Like I said, I'm just trying to get the watch party started. Once I get the watch party started, it's an option where you share. Okay. Nope, it just says share to page. I guess they just trying to make it so. Okay, let me go to me. Let me hit share again. Nope, when I hit share, it's telling me share public, share message, share the page. And that's crazy, because last time I was on here, it gave me the option to do the watch party right under share, like you said, bro. So I don't get what's going on. I guess Facebook is getting tired of me. They like, look, no, she getting too big for her own good, even though I'm small potatoes. But it is what it is. Let me get live on my Instagram real quick, because y'all know I try to go live on everything and on every avenue that I possibly can. So bear with me 2 seconds. I'm on Instagram now. Let's see. Hold up. Video. Nope. Y'all know I never really know how to do that either. All right, let's go live. Go live. Okay, so now I'm live on everything. I'm live on thank you, ladies. I'm live on, wait, I gotta figure out how to turn that around. I'm live on Instagram. Hey, Instagram. I'm live on YouTube. Hey, YouTube. And I'm live on Facebook. So I'm chilling like a villain, trying to get it together. I was actually kind of under the weather, so I wasn't feeling too good today, but I'm feeling pretty good now. When I get live, you guys give me this energy that I didn't have before, and I want to thank y'all for always just being there for the queen. I really, really do. I really, really, really do. I mean, I cannot ask for a better audience. I want to tell y'all honestly, I was talking to someone and they were explaining to me how when I first started, they remember when I didn't have the voice that I wanted, when I didn't have the following and the feedback, and how I never, ever gave up. And I want to thank that person for loving me and being there for me and holding me down. And I want to thank you all for just being a part of the queen's journey. Without you, there is no queen. Well, there's always going to be a queen, but without you, the queen has no platform. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to thank y'all so very much. Okay, I'm going to try to get to my guest, but it's not allowing me to add, and I don't know why, but it's not allowing me to add him to my screen, and it's upsetting my nerve. Hold up. Mr. Charles, I'm trying to add you to the screen. I don't know if you should wave or what is going on, but it's like it's not giving me the option to add you at this moment, and I'm not sure why. It's like it's telling me that you're there, but it's not telling me that you're there. Hey, Heather, thank you so much. Heather, you know what? I see you on everything, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. Your face popped up in one of my feeds, and it's been popping up on all my messages and everything ever since. So I want to thank you so very much for just being a part of my journey, Heather. You are awesome. My bro Titan, Yvette, you are amazing. Jermaine, Tevin, Virginia Coleman. Hey, Virginia. Hey, from Richmond, Virginia. I appreciate you tuning in. And I just want to thank you all. And Philly Street Poet. I'm trying to get my guests live, but it's not giving me the option for some reason to add my guest. I'm not sure why. It gave it to me before, but it won't give it to me now, which is very weird. So I'm going to try to go on the other page and add him. See if I can bring him into the feed. Let's see. Okay. It's telling me to invite friends. Let's see if I can invite. Let's see. All right. So bear with me. Charles, I'm trying to get you here. I see that you're here, but it's not letting me invite you the way I want to. So bear with me real quick. All right. I'm hitting invite on it, and hopefully that'll bring you in. Hopefully. Because it's not giving me the option to bring you into my screen, and I need to be able to bring you into the screen. It's telling me that you're watching, but that's really all it's doing. It's not giving me the same option it gave me before to add you. For some reason, okay, computer, you want to get on my nerves today. I see it. I'm waving at DreamWorks. Thank you, DreamWorks, for tuning in on Instagram. I appreciate you. But like I said, we're trying. Seymour Bell, appreciate you for tuning in. I'm trying to add my guests to the feed. Bear with me, you guys. But Mr. Charles York, he's here. He's there. Well, he's there, but it is not allowing me to add him for some strange reason. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. I see that you're here. Let's see. Nope. Let's down that. You know what? Maybe we can add you to the Instagram. Go on Instagram and let me see if I can add you to my Instagram feed. And then they can hear you that way. If you can hear me, Charles, go on Instagram, see if we can add you to my Instagram feed instead of the Facebook feed. But I want you guys to be able to talk to him and ask him questions because he does poetry just like I do. Y'all know I have my y'all know I have my poetry books out. The Queen Has Spoken, which I sent to a couple people last week, and I hope they got it. Hollywood, she did post hers and she tagged me, so I appreciate her. And Enter the Mind of the Queen, which I just sent out another copy of that. And the person was reading it, and I didn't get a picture yet, but I got an email saying, hey, I got the book. And In the Heart of the Queen. So, y'all know my poetry books are out. And Charles said he might be able to do a poem for you guys tonight. And if he does a poem for you guys, I'm not going to lie, I will do a poem for you guys because I have not done a poem for my babies in so long. And I really miss doing poetry for you guys. I really do. Oh, yes, my novel, If Some Wishes Came True. My cover is actually up for Literacy Cover Award. Find the link in my bio, and I need you guys to vote for me. I want to be honest, I looked at a lot of the covers, and a lot of the covers are actually awesome. My cover is not the best cover, However, my cover is one of the most original covers because I notice a lot of the covers have like the girl and the guy without a shirt, the girl with her arm draped over, love is a liar, and take the side chick and take the shovel out the boot and all that nonsense. But to each their own. But if you get a minute, go on and vote for me. I would really, 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 truly appreciate it. I really do. Tell us where we could purchase it. You can purchase it by inboxing me if you would like. I would truly, truly, truly love for you guys to inbox me and I can send you an autographed copy. And if you don't want an autographed copy and you just want to get a copy, go on Amazon.com, put in If Some Wishes Came True, In the Heart of the Queen, Into the Mind of the Queen, or The Queen Has Spoken, and all of my books will pop up. Or just put in Queen A.M.I.N.A and every book that I've done will pop up. Okay, wait. He is on Instagram. Okay, request, view, go live with Charles. Okay, yes, we're going to get Charles on Instagram. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, where there's a will, there's a way. Don't ever give up. Do you understand me? You understand me? You understand me? Hey, Mr. Charles, how are you?
It's the Queen. How are you?
I am blessed by the best. Thank you so much. So much. I figured, hey, if we can't get you on one way, we're going to get you on another.
If there isn't a door, there's a window.
Very, very true. And I'm climbing through any way I can, okay? So, how are you this evening?
That's right. I'm good. A little chilly over here, though. It's kind of cold on this side of Oregon.
Oh, is it? So you're in Oregon. You got to tell us a little bit about Oregon. I heard it was awesome over there.
Well, the west side of Oregon is really covered with a lot of forests, wonderful mountains, and waterfalls. Unfortunately, eastern Oregon is more like the armpit of the body, so it's not exactly what I would call very pretty, but it is cold because we sit here in Ontario, Oregon, in a valley called the Treasure Valley, and we are actually on the lower end of it, so we get what's called inversions, which is a layer of air that keeps the cold air down, so we stay extra frosty when it gets cold.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I keep trying to tell them, being as though I'm in New Mexico, my time is off, so it's only 7:16 over here, but I know it's 9 o'clock and nice and cold over there. What time is it for you?
Oh, actually, it's about 7 here, too. It just turned after 7.
Okay, so we're on the same time frame. So, everybody, I have Charles York on. Yeah. He's on my Instagram. For those who want to know, I'm Queen A.M.I.N.A 26 on Instagram. Go on Instagram. You can watch us live. Other than that, you are welcome to type your questions into Facebook. He can hear me read them, and I will definitely be asking all types of questions.
I actually have you, I've got you on Instagram, actually, because, of course, I'm connected there. But my laptop has got you on Facebook, so awesome. I'm seeing you in both frames.
Okay. I hope I look good in both, because I keep trying to tell people I'm extra chocolatey. I be disappearing sometimes. So we actually have to ask you, and forgive me for over talking you. I want to know, because I tell them all the time about poetry and what got me started. What I first want to start with is, what got you started in writing poetry?
Well, I think to coin a phrase from a famous movie, The Dead Poets Society, poetry was made to woo women, and my start initially began trying to woo this young lady when I was in high school, and I had started to write very simple A-B type poetry, rhyme scheme stuff, and so I wrote her a couple things. I started writing poems that were basically a little bit like song lyrics, but they really weren't set to music, not yet. That wouldn't come until I got to college, when I started studying music as a voice major.
Okay. So he started writing poetry because he was actually trying to get a woman's attention. I love it. Like I said, I started writing in a downtime. And I always complain about that downtime, but I'm actually happy that I went through it, or I wouldn't be the queen that you see before you today. So what type of poetry do you write? Now that you are seasoned and you've already found the love of your life, what type of poetry do you write, since you no longer write the A-B type of poetry?
Seasoned, that's a good word. I like that a lot better than mature or senior citizen. I think to start with, the subjects and genres that I tend to write about are first of all, most of my poetry is in free verse, or what they call blank verse, freestyle, song lyric, and even rap.
Okay.
And from there, the subjects that I usually write about are love, sex, war, politics, social justice being a really big one of mine, as well as nature, astronomy, food, relationships. I mean, it's a lot of everything. Depression, diabetes, which are two things that I deal with on a daily basis. And occasionally I write poems of whimsy. I've even wrote a poem about my dog taking a poo once, and I wouldn't call it a great work of art, but it just goes to show you that inspiration takes so many different forms, and if you're willing and open enough to listen to it, especially for the deeper meaning of things, you can get inspiration, and that is really probably the most important and the first important ingredient you got to have if you want to be a poet.
Okay. Well, I want to first again say thank you for being the guest on A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists.
The honor is mine, believe me.
I totally appreciate you. I do. We have a Gene Beach who said peace and blessings always. Alfred said he heard that. You have to tell us the name of your poetry books, where they can find them, because I know that people are going to want to hear and read what you have.
Sure. Well, let me show you the second latest book that I wrote. I don't have a copy of number 11, which is out right now. It's called Echoes and Ripples.
That's beautiful. That's the one you sent me, right?
This is a copy of Summer of Love, Lips, and Verse. Now, this is a book that I wrote in the summer of 2017.
It's beautiful.
And before that, we have, let's see, can't exactly see the words here because of the lighting, but this is Emancipation Now. This was to replace a book that I had originally wrote as this one right here, which is called Dare to Do Great.
Beautiful.
This was no longer in print, but the one that I just showed you is. And other books that I've also written are a collection of love poems. Which this book here contains 113 of the 205 actually 204 that I've written. And then we have books such as Burden of the Black Man, which is very similar to another book that I have written called Sacred Black. This was actually the second book that I've written. This one contains 140 poems. And so those books touch on a lot of social justice subjects, particularly things like the Black Lives Matter movement, the gun violence perpetrated by police upon African Americans, as well as other minorities and so forth.
Okay. You know what?
Go ahead.
I want to just say it's enlightening to have another poet write about the different things that matter, like Black Lives Matter and the lives that are being lost at the hands of police for no reason at all. It's enlightening. I mean, because you show the difference between how you can switch between a love poem and a poem that can truly motivate a crowd or move a march. You know what I'm saying? And not too many people want to bring, I would say, light to these subjects, but we need to. They don't need to continuously stay in the dark. And these people are losing their lives. Their families are losing a son, a daughter, a cousin, and nobody's truly bringing light to them because they're trying to sweep them under the rug and say, well, you know what? Well, maybe that person did something bad, or, okay, well, it happens all the time. And we can't keep chalking these things up to it happens all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I love the fact that you write poems to bring
I agree with you. There's a pervasive attitude of, stuff happens and, that's too bad it happens to them. But the problem with that is it just underlines the not just a social disconnect, but the sort of anesthetizing effect that seeing or hearing something like that has, particularly on the white population. You know, I myself am white as well as Asian, but it doesn't exclude me from any sense of participation or responsibility. In fact, if nothing, it calls on me because of the fact that I'm multi-ethnic. I tend to view that particular subject as being part and parcel of not only what it means to be American, but what it means to kind of reshape and reframe the narrative. Because too long, people who have endured this, suffer countless many times without any thoughtful recognition or any real change. African Americans are constantly being told, well, you've got to wait. It's going to take a little longer, or you can't rush change and this sort of thing. And Martin Luther King, my lifetime hero, said that justice delayed is justice denied. Very and unfortunately, what happens with a lot of poets is that poets tend to be a little too self-indulgent. And one of the things that I recognized immediately was, if I was a real salt of the earth kind of poet, if I was going to be any poet with integrity, I had to get outside of the sort of selfishness of writing about things from my point of view and actually get outside myself and see what was going on in the world. And so what I was seeing a lot of was a lot of suffering, being perpetrated systematically on not just African Americans, but on natives, on Hispanics or Latinos. And I said to myself, this is where the real inspiration, the real story is. And so as a poet, I believe it's my job to tell the truth, to reveal both beauty and blemishes in the world as being equals, but to also move hearts and minds. And that third part is really what drives me as far as looking at that particular subject and seeing the cause of African Americans as my own. I'm not trying to write it a point of, I'm better than them and I need to, exploit their suffering or whatever. I write it as if I was an eyewitness to history, and I try to ingrain some of my own experience because I've endured some of that too. I used to live in Dallas, Texas for a long time, and one time I walked through a section of it called Highland Park, which is actually its own city, and I was followed by police. And oddly enough, several decades later, when I moved up here to Ontario, I was followed by police again just for shoveling snow outside of a church that I used to be a member of. And the thing that dawned on me was, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, it's just one of those things that the poet, if you don't recognize it and you don't write something about it, then I think all the other poetry that you write is become, sort of self-indulgent and banal, and it's going to be lost through time because nobody's going to care about that. But people are going to care if you write a poem about, what happened in Dallas on the day when the police were themselves victims of a shooting. What happened when, Philando Castile was sitting in his car one day and he and his girlfriend were just minding their own business, and a rookie police officer who was Asian, I believe, shot him and killed him.
Right.
And people like, what was her name?
Sandra Bland.
Sandra Bland, yes. And others, Michael Brown, Laquan McDonald, Trayvon Martin, Emmett Till, the list goes on. And it's just, you get to a point as a poet and you say, by God, that's enough. Who am I to write poems about how beautiful a flower is if I'm not writing about those things too? Because those are the things that are happening in the real world. And exactly. So I like to think that poetry still has a chance.
Okay.
That we can still tell a story that's compelling, a story that's poignant, story that's profound in its reach, a story that will matter to the real people on the street.
Very true. Heather said, yes, I agree with you, Charles. As a white female poet, when I benefit from privilege, it's my responsibility to use it and bear witness and educate. I know that's right, Heather. See, Heather, I told you Heather was awesome.
I agree with that too. We don't do enough. I think the one thing that makes me sad about the modern day poet laureates is they're more interested in trying to spread the technique of poetry rather than trying to spread the message that we need to be part of the world. And by that, I think we need to be part of the change. Right. Because literature itself is not enough. I mean, I look at poetry as the literature of conscience. Okay. And it's not just a poem that, elevates itself to a lofty position where people say, wow, I've never heard of nature expressed that way, or I've never heard somebody get wooed that romantically. Okay. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be poems that are about what's happening on the street, like what happened to Sandra, what happened to Laquan, what happened to Philando. All these people, their lives once mattered, and the removal of that named universe from our world is a tragedy of huge proportions. And for people to ignore it, to sort of sweep it under the rug and say, wait your turn, it's just crazy. I mean, it's time for that to end. So, I mean, I like to think of, poetry as having a social conscience as well as having a passionate heart.
True. And you know what? I actually appreciate your comment, because not only is it coming from someone who is not an African American man, but someone who is a man that is seeing is a social injustice as far as people, not just a color. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that the more you talk about injustice and the things that are going on with police and people losing their lives, the more people shut it down and they don't want to hear it. It's like people will support a twerk video before people support a rally about Black Lives Matter, before they support, a rally saying, stand up for your rights. They will show up in drones of thousands to see Cardi B twerking in her new video. But to have this conversation, you will lose people's ear, because it's like, oh, well, it happened. Why do we have to harp on it? We're not harping on it. We just want the change. We want it to... Yes. We need it to change. You know what I'm saying? And people aren't seeing that. All they see is, okay, you're talking about it again. You're pulling the scab off the wound, when in actuality, I'm not trying to pull the scab off the wound. I'm trying to make more people aware of this is still going on. It didn't end with Sandra Bland.
Yeah, and a lot of people they express the shock and awe of what's happening, but unfortunately, shock and awe is not the same as actual change. And I heard a friend of mine, Renee Lee Taylor, a friend of mine on Facebook, once tell me that, saying sorry is not enough. You actually got to change your behavior. Well, for a lot of, and I speak for myself as well as a member of the white community, saying sorry is a hard thing to do for white people. But, it's because they don't make the connection of being a descendant of the history. They often say, well, why should I say sorry? Because that happened generations ago. That happened with, maybe people in my family several generations back, but I have nothing to do with it. Well, the thing is, dude, you're a descendant. And because you're a descendant, it means your sole job isn't so much to apologize, but is to recognize that you owe a part of engagement, a participation in the overall change from the attitude of complete hatred or apathy or indifference to one of acceptance and embrace and inclusion. And so when you're locking your door, for instance, when an African American passes by in the parking lot, such as one time I did, and I was guilty of that. I had to recognize, that's a form of racism. It's a very subtle form. It may be a form that goes by invisibly, but in my heart, I knew that was a reaction of fear. And where was that fear coming from? It was coming from prejudice based upon a misnomer. And so you have to become engaged. You have to participate as a descendant. I don't even know if any members of my family lineage were slave owners, but I do recognize that my dad was white, his dad was white, his dad was white, and somewhere along the line we probably were engaged with an African American community, and how we participated with them, how we engaged with them says a lot, not only as individuals, but as a member of a society. And so, being engaged as a descendant in the progressive, in the progression of change, that's one thing, and part of saying you're sorry, but changing that narrative, standing up when somebody on a train gets called the N-word, for instance, and saying, hey, you know what, that's unacceptable, and if you don't apologize, then you need to get off this train, because you have no right to practice your racism, in an environment where we like to get along. True. And that's all you got to say. And if they don't get off the train, then then just get up and get off the train yourself. You don't have to endure that. And you can invite the person who's been persecuted and say, hey, come on, let's go catch the next one. Right. And I'll pay. Those are the things that would really be the real fruit or the real meat of change. True. That people would rather see. And just imagine if a poet could write something that inspires people to do that, and enough people begin to do that, you can see real change start to happen. Maybe perhaps, talk about those things when people say, oh, I don't want to hear that story. I'm like, well, I write it, I read it. You don't want to hear it, that's fine. Go and, take your walk in a different direction, and I thank you for being here. True. But if they're going to sit there and argue with you, then at least say, well, let me read what I have written. True. I had to explain that to this Mormon guy who came up to me, and he disagreed with my poem, Fire in Ferguson. And I told him, I said, I didn't write this for you to agree with. Right. I wrote this so that you could hear the truth. And that's the first job, again, for a poet, is tell the truth. Very true. Not that hard. Very, very true. Will you share one of your poems with us this evening? I'm trying to let them see you just a little bit, so I turn my phone around. So I definitely would like you to share one of your poem, because I want to say. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, I want to just say, I just want to say again, I appreciate everybody that's tuned into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists, with my special guest, Charles York, poet, activist, just all around wonderful, wonderful guy. And I want you guys to support his books. What I'm going to need you to do one more time, since I'm able to see you on Facebook now, because I put my screen on you. If you could show us those covers of those books again and tell us where to find them, because I thought those books were awesome. Sure. The covers were beautiful. All and these I books want you can find on lulu.com, which is a self-publishing website. That's lulu.com. But you can search for them on Amazon, Google, and you'll find most of the titles that I've published are under lulu.com. Very few of them right now are on Kindle Direct Publishing, which used to be CreateSpace. But I'm going to make it a job one to get those books transferred over to them, because I happen to think they make better covers. But they also are fairly easy to publish. And I'd like to see how their royalties pay out, because I can tell you this much. Lulu is very simple to use, but in terms of getting royalties paid out to people, they're like snail mail. It's
wow.
incredibly slow. And if you're hoping to make a living off of publishing books on Lulu, well, if you have hundreds of dollars to spend for advertising, if you actually think it's worth it, good luck. But if you don't, you're probably going to be on the piss poor end, as I am, as far as sales go.
Well,
but,
I want to say Create Space. They actually are pretty good. When you reach a certain threshold, they send you your checks. I know I'm on there. So, but I honestly, personally, rather order them and mail them out myself because I like to sign books. I like to put my autograph in it. I like for you to know that it was definitely appreciated that you ordered it. But either way, they all take their percentage out unless you are actually doing it yourself. Actually taking the book and saying, hey, I got some with me. I can mail it to you, and I'll just send you an invoice through PayPal, and that's normally what I do. So, like he said,
that sounds like a good idea. I may try doing that myself.
Okay.
I know I've had a couple of people ask me for my signature, and I got nothing about holding back on my signature. I'd love to provide that for them. Okay. That sounds like a much more sure way of actually getting your percentage.
Yes.
Because the name of the game in book sales is percentage.
True.
And everybody wants to make sure they get a bigger percentage. Publishing companies, they're generally going to take a big percentage out of what you make.
They do.
So, getting on with them means a lot of advertising and promotion, but for all the promotion and advertising you get very little back in terms of profit, in terms of royalty. So, self-publishing is actually a better way of doing that. You get a bigger percentage. But at the same time, you sacrifice a little bit on the promotion end. So
true.
It's up to you to kind of do your own promotion. I have to say that's one thing that I'm continually trying to learn to do better. And if I made a New Year's resolution, that'd probably be it.
Well, that's one thing, not to cut you off. That's one thing. That's why I keep trying to tell people they need to find my page, Show It Well Publications, because I've been there. I've had publishing companies want to just take my money. I've had publishing companies just want to own my characters. I've had publishing companies do so much that now I own my own publishing company, Show It Well Publications. And I swear my 3 poetry books are out under me, and so is my novel If Some Wishes Came True. And I don't do that to people. Where I feel as though you get everything copywritten yourself. That's the one thing I do say, so you can always own your own characters. However, I do everything. It is one set price for if you want to sign under me, because I do have to pay the editor. I do have to pay the girl who's going to do the cover. I do have to pay a few other people to proofread and things of that nature. However, I don't charge the way the companies charge. They want to charge you a certain amount up front. And I get 5% off of every book you sell. However, that's very minuscule if you're selling them from me selling them directly. Because if your book is $20, you're pretty much going to get $18 off of each book. I'm only getting 2. So I'm different from every other company. So y'all better find Show It Well Publications. I'm glad you brought that up so I could do a little commercial for myself.
Okay, well, I guess we better show those books real quick, right?
Yes, please, because your book covers were beautiful.
Yes. Okay, this one again is Dare to Do Great. It's not in publishing or in print right now, but I don't know. I'm debating on whether to reprint this book. It won't look exactly like this, but it'll look something similar to that.
Okay.
One book that I did not show you, but actually is in print. This will make some people laugh. This is called Dump Trump.
Hell and yeah, I need
that. This is a book. It's called Poems of the Resistance. It's basically a book of poetry that has to do with the man himself. It does not speak kindly of him. So if you're a Trump supporter, guess what? I make no apologies for the poems that I write. So it's basically I stick it to him in this book.
Yes, I need that book.
Yes. It actually has about 44 poems in it, but they're all pretty hard hitting. So here again is Burden of the Black Man. This is a book I was very, very proud to put out. So that too is on lulu.com. And let's see, what else do we have here? I'm sorry, I'm having to interrupt myself because of a cat.
It's okay, cute kitty. I don't like cats, but that's a cute
Aaron.
kitty.
Aaron's making his appearance online, so here we go. So we also have love poems.
Beautiful.
Okay, and that's a volume of Love Poetry, which is going to get an expansion this year.
Okay.
So the new one's gonna have the same cover, but basically be expanded from 113 to 204 poems.
Awesome.
So it'll be hopefully out around Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And then we have books like Summer of Love, Lips in Verse.
Beautiful.
This is a book of poems that incorporate the summer of 2017, things that I experienced and went through. Nothing really terrible, just a kind of a sort of a diary of what that summer was like.
Okay.
And then we have Emancipation Now, which is actually the replacement for Dare to Do Great. Now, this book, this was sort of in your face to Lulu because they wanted to charge me for making changes to Dare to Do Great, but I wasn't going to do that. And so as a way of setting myself free, I decided, well, you know what? It's time for some emancipation. And so that's how this book got its title.
Okay.
And it's basically Dare to Do Great, but a little shorter. It's about 122 instead of 140 poems.
Okay.
So that's Emancipation Now. And then we have, of course, what I showed before, which was Sacred Black. This is a book that is a combination of love poems, social justice, everything under the sun, but primarily emphasizes the struggle of African Americans as well as Native and Latinos.
Oh, wow.
And then last but not least, we have Anonymous. Now, this one has a sort of ominous cover to it. This is called Anonymous Verses from the Fringes. And this book has a lot to do with social justice.
Okay.
That is almost it. And then we have, what is it? Oh yes. Then we have this one. I don't show this one too often, but this is American Aperture. This is very similar to Anonymous.
Okay.
It's just sort of a sequel to that particular book. But this poem is kind of a combination of love, social justice, Americana, everything else.
Okay.
And so that's basically it. I mean, I've tried to make sure that every time I write a book, it's bigger than the usual chapbook. Chapbooks are usually 20, 30, sometimes 40 poems.
Okay.
But I try to fill my books with at least a hefty size of anywhere from like 50, 60, 70 to anywhere up in the hundreds of poems. And then, of course, the ones that I haven't shown you are Echoes and Ripples, which is my latest book. I have yet to purchase the proof copy for.
Okay.
And then the 2-volume set of all my poems, which will also be revised this year, is Follow the Silence. And that one I'm especially proud of because I've been wanting to incorporate all my poems. I tried to put them in a single volume, but printing companies just weren't ready to do it. I mean, unless you're somebody big.
Okay.
And so I put it into 2 volumes. And like I said, you can find all those books on www.lulu.com. And you can search for them by Google and also through Amazon. And you should be able to find it that way. And if you have any questions, those books are usually priced from somewhere. My latest book is like $7.99. But some of them have prices like $12 or $14.
Okay.
And the 2-volume set, those are like $21, $22 a piece.
Okay.
Depending on whether you go through CreateSpace or Lulu to get those.
Okay.
So anyway, and if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me on Facebook. I'll be more than happy to message back. I may not always get to them right away, but I generally work from home, so you can get in touch with me any time of the day. And if you feel like chatting or messaging or whatever, I'm always open to that. I'm not one of these people who hides in a closet.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad that I found you because honestly, I love what you have to say. The book you sent me, it was the cover, just the cover alone was just beautiful. I wish you had a copy to show everyone, but I want to be honest. You put my books to shame. My books only have about 50 to 60, maybe max 70 poems in it per book, but at the end of the day, you know what? I feel as though, my novel, I'm more of a writer I'm trying to be more on the writer side than the poet side, but I have
Right.
poems that talk about the injustices. I have love poems. I have poems for single moms. I have, so I don't stick to a certain genre either. So it's awesome to find a gentleman that writes the way I do. You don't stick to one thing. You want to touch on all the topics. You want to bring it out. And I'm glad that I'm able to bring some type of light to who you are and where you are. So tell everybody how to find you on Instagram and on Facebook, because we got a lot of people tuning into the watch party. I was able to finally do the watch party. So we got a lot of people tuning into the watch
All right.
party. So tell them all how to find you.
Okay, on Facebook, you can find me as Charles Edward York. I generally use my entire real name on all my work, so Charles Edward York. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find my author page, which is Charles Edward York, poet and author, on Facebook. Almost all my books, with the exception of about 3 or 4, have Facebook pages.
Okay.
So once you get in touch with me and I tell you what those titles are, you can search for those pages that are related to those books. One mission I will clean up this year is trying to put the links for those books on there, so you can just automatically go to it instead of search it. And also, on Facebook, there is a poetry forum called Poets Unplugged. I started this back in August of 2015, and actually not 2015, about 2015. It was about several months after a job that I had with a college library, and that poetry forum has over 7,000 members now. I'm happy to say it was a project of mine that I started because I was concerned that a lot of people were not getting covered on Facebook as far as membership and being able to post their poems. There was a lot of restrictions on a lot of other pages that I thought were really unnecessary. And so that's part of the reason why I got the title Poets Unplugged. And so you can search for that on Facebook. I'm the only admin, so I generally add people unless there's somebody like, if you don't have a personal photograph, for instance, on your profile, I generally skip over those.
Okay.
But,
me too.
Yeah, it's just kind of a rule of mine. It's like, well, you got to put up something that represents you.
Yes.
But on Instagram, you can also find me under Charles Edward York, and I'm not a private account on either Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
So you can look me up on Instagram. I post quite a few poems on there. Almost all my postings are either pictures with poems or something related to poetry.
Okay.
So every now and then I post something personal, but it's mostly poetry with photographs. So you'll always see a very symbolic picture on there with the poem in the comment section. And anyway, so I guess we better get to reading a poem, huh?
Definitely. But you know what? I'm glad that everyone is tuned in and listening to hear what you have to say, because like I said, I love getting feedback from males, because women are so quick to say, you know what, Queen, I'm with you. So to actually have a man on my show that does poetry, that's not of African American descent, that understands the struggle and the light, is a wonderful, wonderful thing for me tonight. So you're giving me life tonight. So I really do appreciate it. I do.
Oh, well, I thank you for the privilege of being on here. I think of your program a lot because since that first time I was watching you, I said to myself, here's a young lady who's talking about relationships in a way that is not only palpable and down to earth, but is optimistic about pursuing the answers to these questions.
Yes.
And you don't find a lot of people doing that. You find a lot of talk shows who talk about the titillating subjects like how long a man is or something like that. But these are questions that are better left for the bar than they are for a serious talk show.
Right.
And I think when you're talking about relationships, like I said, it's refreshing to see someone like you pursue the answer optimistically.
Yes.
You do it with a curiosity that reminds me of a child, and that is it's not only refreshing, it's inspiring. And I'm glad to see that you have followers who care about that as much as you do.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And I want to just tell you, just so you know, I've been a part of Poets Unplugged for the past 2 years. I did not know
No
that
way.
you were. I'm so serious. I didn't know you were the administrator. I really did not.
Yeah.
But I will go back to trying to share on there. Yes,
Oh
I.
yeah, and what I tell people is, look, it doesn't have to necessarily be poetry. It could
Mhm.
be I'm surprised I don't see more rap lyrics on there, because I tell people all the time I'm a huge fan of rap. I mean,
Okay.
I go back as far as Cool Mo D, Sugar Hill Gang, and even NWA, as well as Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you know that I listen to people like that, and somebody as radical as his name, he goes by the name of Paris.
Okay.
He's really, really radical. I mean, he makes Common look like a kindergarten class.
Really?
And yeah, I'm telling you, it is no exaggeration. Paris is the bomb as far as being radical about his poetry.
Yeah.
But these are people that I find a kinship with, because there's something about the spoken word when it's put to music in rhythm, in a form that people can not just relate to, but they can feel it. They can dance to it. They can recite it.
Yes.
These are ways and forms that people can not only understand and appreciate, but they will remember.
True.
And that's probably one of the biggest aims that almost any poet should have, is, if you're going to write, how are you going to be remembered? How are you going to be remembered?
Very true.
So write something that you will be remembered well for.
Definitely.
Not something that, people are going to look at and go, I can't understand this. And then the teacher has to explain, well, it was written in the vernacular and the word of the day, and they talked about really bawdy subjects, and nobody but those people back in that generation can understand.
Mm-hmm.
You want to write in the way. I'm not saying you don't have to be Shakespeare.
Right.
I mean, just be real.
Right.
And you know what people know as real is. I mean, it's like when you walk into a kitchen and you smell beef stew, or
ooh, my favorite.
Something that really gets you right away, like the smell of bacon.
Mm-hmm.
You know that person's not cooking something that looks like clay and has like red and pink dots all over it. You know that you're gonna walk in and see, oh, there's a iron skillet that's cooking bacon in it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm talking about. People don't have to like play interpreter with what you're reading or writing.
Mm-hmm.
They smell it. They know what it is, and that's the reason why I tell people, look, if you got rap lyrics, put those and post those on there. If you want to advertise that you're a rap artist, feel free.
Yes.
I don't have any problems with people advertising. I'm like, I'm surprised I don't see more of it.
Right.
The only advertising that I don't allow is anything that's outside of, like, if it's poetry, rap, music, plays, spoken word, performance art, anything that has to do with literature or art or music, I will allow that kind of advertising. So if you want to like say, hey, I read Edgar Allan Poe today, the poem Annabelle Lee. Can I post that? And I'm like, yeah, sure. If you don't have any problem with a Poe family coming after you for copyright later on, but no, just kidding. But if they feel like that's their favorite poem and they just wanted to shout out that day, I say, go ahead. You know what? I love Edgar Allan Poe too. So,
definitely.
Post that on there. But, even if it's, I would smile from ear to ear if somebody said, can I post the lyrics, my favorite lyrics from Beyonce or something? Like, oh, you mean like Lemonade? Yeah, go ahead. As long as it doesn't violate somebody's copyright law,
right.
I mean, feel free. You want to post your own picture of yourself doing the happy dance, singing Lemonade. That'd be great too. So,
exactly. You know what? And that's how my group is. For those who don't know that aren't a part of it, you need to find it. It's called Queen A.M.I.N.A's Entertaining Babies. I am for comedians, poets, writers, anyone that's doing something positive and entertaining. You want to rap, anything, you are welcome to share whatever you want, as long as it's not nude as long as it's not negative, and as long as it's not
Yeah.
tearing somebody else down. Those are the rules of the group. However, you are welcome to join. I want to thank everybody that tuned into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists, with my guest, Charles York. Charles, we're going to get them poems together. I'm actually
Okay.
going to do a poem if you do a poem, but I'm going to follow your
Okay.
lead. So whatever genre of poetry you do, if you do a love poem, I'll do a love poem. If you do a serious on the dime poem about anything that is going on in the world right now, activism type of poem, then I will do one as well. So I'm going to follow suit, and I'm going to keep showing you on the camera as long as I can hold it. So, because the
Oh,
watch party is really picking up, like it is really a lot of people
I
on the
really
watch party.
appreciate that sacrifice you're making there. That's saying a lot for you.
Yes. I'm so used to being the only one in the screen, like, okay, look. But no, I love the fact that I'm able to turn the camera around and actually let them see you as well as hear you. And I thank you all that's tuned in on my YouTube, my Instagram, and my Facebook. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. And don't forget, I'm always in Facebook jail. So and share me some more. Thank you guys.
All right. Okay, so I'll start off with Fire in Ferguson, and I'll
Okay.
read you a couple of social justice poems that's pretty much similar to this one.
Awesome.
Okay, this is Fire in Ferguson. A fire in Ferguson rages in the night, burning up the flames in anger. Michael Brown met injustice at the business end of a bad decision because he was big, young, and black. Darren Wilson, a white police officer sworn to protect and to serve all people, decided a young black man fit the profile of a target to fear instead, killing any allowance to walk unharmed. Popo pulled the trigger 6 times, abandoning any reason or restraint, taking the right to choose away. Michael would never discover, hands up, don't shoot, might as well mean fire. A video game control button, deleting Michael from the street. Mother and father were now alight with grief, as justice delayed becomes justice denied. Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin met the fatal embrace of injustice too. Their right to life rejected as well. The death of Michael once more ignited their names on fire down the streets. Prejudice dances with the wolves in uniform as the blood of youth is allowed to flow and aren't allowed to breathe and are guilty until shot dead. They become an endangered species. In Ferguson, where young black men once played walking with pride, made from parents who fought for civil rights and justice, discrimination and race dictates who gets to parade or perish. Hate is given a free pass and equality reversed. The right to life in America remains determined by the shade of our skin. And that's that.
Awesome.
All right, so are we looking for one of yours now?
Yeah, I'm actually going to do one. I'm going to turn the camera around to me for 2 seconds, and I'm going to do a poem for you. I want to thank everybody that's tuning into the watch party. It's so many people watching. I just want to thank you all for tuning into A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists. Bear with me real quick. I'm going to sit the screen down. Hey, you're going to see only me for a second. I'm going to do a poem out of The Queen Has Spoken. And just bear with me really, really fast. It's just so much going on. Hold on. Let's see. I'm sorry. I wish I would have had this queued up, but so much goes on.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm flipping pages too. So.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. This one is called Lifeless. At the rate the lives are lost, with the mental and personal cost, no one being convicted for the crimes We must march, not just tell it in our rhymes. We must fight for equality, even though it should just come naturally. Our voices combined at one time can change this universe. With all the hate that they disperse, if we took it seriously and we continuously fight for our rights to be people, equal, to stand, to be woman and man for our land, yes, we can. Because the rate that these lives are lost is disturbing. The craziness of walking free and it's unnerving. I want to also mention that the protection doesn't need to be 100 gun salute. That shit ain't cute. So this pointless killing and all those willing to stand united for this nation, together with no complications. We all must join this cause. Don't be upset when your life is lost. It comes a pause. I speak from a standpoint of change, and I hope that I can reach all in range. Put the guns down and uplift your voices high. No more bullets raining through our skies. No more innocent lives have to die. No more mothers and fathers left to cry. A change is gonna come. However, first we must overcome the lies that try to keep us down and make us clowns. Please fight please fight these Republicans, because this is our America and we need to stand strong to win. And that's that piece. It's called Lifeless.
Wow, I love it. That's got a lot of power behind it.
Thank you. It's in The Queen Has
What?
Spoken. You guys got to find it.
Yes, appropriately titled enough.
Thank you. So we're going to get one more from you, and then I'll do one more.
Yeah, I'm gonna read. Let's see. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me switch gears here. I'm gonna read something from my love poems book.
Okay. Just so my YouTubers can see you, because YouTube. Okay. I'm sorry. This is the first time I got to get to you, but YouTube, let's see it. Let's go.
All right, I'll read you this one, because this one happens to be a big favorite among most of my fans here. This is called Afterglow.
Ooh.
You. In colors kept in a shy place, a personal palette, silent for far too long, I brush your celestial curves with subtle adoration, offering my generous glance, a tender lather of expensive words, rarely written. I decorate your outline, every intimate regard leading to your emotional treasure. You keep precious and safe for one uncommon allure. With soft hands I adore you, softly in gratuitous plenitude, marveling that such a body surrounds an irrepressible light, embraced by an unmistakable je ne sais quoi, whisper of sensual mystery. Your eyes compel me to answer an intimate invitation autographed by you. You lead me inside, summon my unguarded posture, where we undress together, undone, leaving the night to repeat our afterglow. That was it.
Awesome.
Nice and short.
Well, you know what? What is this? Instagram is going to cut you off in 30 seconds. You know how Instagram does. I forgot that they have a timer. So I'm going to do one more poem.
You want to try to switch over to Facebook?
Yes. So I'm going to do one more poem and we're going to end the show anyway. But I want to say thank you, Charles, for just being a part of A.M.I.N.A tonight. You have made everyone aware of who you are.
It was an honor and distinction to be with you.
I appreciate you so much. So you guys hold on. I'm going to do one more poem. Just bear with the queen. And here we go. So this one is from Into the Mind of the Queen. So my YouTubers and my Facebook, you're still with me. So this one, I'm going to try to do a cute one really, really fast since, he did a small little one. It says, I have been high and I have been low. I believe I can fly even without the wind blow. I don't know how to give up, and I don't know how to quit. I honestly believe in luck, and I don't know how to sit. God is calling me to make a change in the next generation. Things can't stay the same. Making moves in my occupation. Appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for walking in my journey tonight. I am going to get myself together. I had made me an awesome dinner, just so y'all know, and I wasn't able to eat it, so I'm going to throw it in the microwave, and I'm going to eat now. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in to A.M.I.N.A, Amazing Mentors, Independently Nurturing Artists. I'll be back in 2 weeks. I love you all. Deuces. Appreciate you. Mwah.